Hi there, pita people. Today we're going to be going through Teach Me How to Make a Pita. We haven't refreshed this video for a while, so we wanted to do a new one, especially with our new smalls. So I'm going to make a regular pita, and then I'll make a small pita so we can talk about portions and really watch our control. Of course, we always start with our clear communication in the store, from the register to the grill, to the maker, to the grill, to be clear. So for this, I'm going to have Courtney throw a chicken on. Courtney, go ahead and throw a chicken on. She'll get that started, and I'm going to get started on Teach Me How. So we have our white and wheat pitas, we know. I'm going to make this with a white pita. Always start with our tabs. So if we have these tabs always go in the trash, or even just on the floor, but never left on the counter, and never where they can fall in the lettuce. They blend right in. So I'm going to throw that in the trash. We'll give this a steam. Now while this is steaming, I always do start with, you have your even color, and your not so even color, and what we call the eye, and we always stay eye to eye with the pita. So I always keep the eye up in the steamer, throw it in there, give it the push, 5 seconds, double blast. Hug our pitas, because we love our pitas, right? Give it the spin, flip the flap. Nice and tucked and put away. So we always ask white or wheat, right? I'm gonna start with this white. When we're opening our pitas, we always wanna think kind of football shaped, not basketball shaped. We want to open to where it's long. We want to keep it long, even pita. You can also look for the tears from the bread and try and keep those on your top flap. You're going to rip along the edge to about 40%, 35 to 40. You're going to fold it back. Your flap should never go past the bottom. It should always be right there, about that 40% mark. Easiest thing to do to demonstrate, teach me how to make a pita, is to start with the spreads, your hummus, your avocado. We're going to put those on the inside. One thing we don't want to do is put them on the top flap, because we always like to save this top flap for tzatziki. A lot of people love tzatziki, and that's its home. So I'm going to put a little avocado in here, and I'm just going to spread that right inside, right along. You see how nothing ever goes on this outside flap? This outside piece, when you roll it, everything's going to gush out. So I'm going to start with the lettuces. We're going to do it like a light baseball, light handful amount of your lettuce. And I'm going to put that in the middle. You can see that I haven't put anything back here. This is the power zone. We like to keep everything in the power zone. I'm going to move on with tomatoes. Tomatoes, I like to call it a 4-finger pinch. We're going to put tomatoes. You want to just make sure the product gets evenly distributed end to end, so there's a little bit in every bite. Now I know everybody's got different size hands, so a pinch is different for everybody. Using a 4-finger pinch for tomato and a 3-finger pinch for everything else is just a good way to measure, not overloading a pita with something. Nobody wants a ton of olives in their pita, and if they do, they can always ask for more. But it's definitely easier to add to pitas than it is to take out. So again, like I said, 3-finger pinch on the more potent items, onions. We're just going to get end to end. Pickles, you want to make sure you just kind of get them all the way across. Which usually is about 6 pickles, but we want to make sure we just got that nice even distribution. We'll throw a little green pepper in here. Pita's looking good. I'm keeping my station clean as I'm going. I'm not making a giant mess as I'm making pitas. When we get down here to the end, like I said, we'd use that top flap for tzatziki. Just an even spread across the top. And when it comes to cheeses, provolone, we're going to put two slices of provolone on there. We always cut ours in half here, separate if you have the paper. A lot of places you get the paper in there. Take the paper out. It looks a lot cleaner when the provolone's just sitting in there cut in half. You put your 2 slices like so. If it's feta that they want, it's a nice level scoop. We're not mounding, we're not overloading. And cheeses, you're sticking to that kind of that 3-finger pinch. Cheese is expensive, and that's where we really watch our costs. So we're going to get that end-to-end distribution. And another thing to remember is always keep your pita facing your customer. Always keeping it down the line facing your customer. When it comes to these sauces, the squirtier sauce is kind of the more potent, like a hot sauce. You're just going to kind of blast that inside like a line. But if we're talking about like a ranch, Caesar, Chipotle, any of those, we're going to zigzag those across the top. The quicker you move your hand, the better your distribution is going to be across the pita. You're not going to get those large clumps of sauce if you just kind of go slow and wait for it to come out. Just start moving your hand in zigzag. Of course, you can always finish it off with a little salt and pepper, whatever the customer wants, right? So once you have your pita up, I'm going to keep it facing the customer. We train this style. I know that pitas can be turned on the boards. Corporately, we train this, so stuff, you know, if you have any over loading, it's going to fall onto the cutting board, not into your cheese or your tzatziki. So I'm going to keep this pita turned facing the customer. I'm going to go ahead and tell Courtney that I got to chicken up. Chicken up. Courtney's going to go ahead, she's going to set that right in the power zone. You see, she's not setting it on this, she's setting it right in the power zone, kind of giving it a little pack to make sure it's in. After that, I'm going to flip the flap. I'll turn this right to the camera. Flip the flap. I'm going to big bear paw. Rah! Get your big bear paw out, and you're just going to roll it back. Nice and tight. Kind of makes like a smiley face. It's not like a halfway in and a flop. You're going to roll this pita tight. Nice tight, points coming out end to end. It's not a burrito roll. It's nice, tight, firm pita. When we're bringing it to our wrap, you're gonna I like to put it about a quarter of the way up the wrap. Pull it tight. Get her about 50%. Give it a crease. Another little crease. Nice tight pita every single time. Next, we're gonna do a little small pita, and this is where we're really gonna be watching the portions. We gotta watch our portions on smalls, and it's also very important to ask customers when you're taking their order, once they've got their pita and they come down, they tell you have a chicken, you wanna ask them, is that a regular or small? Most of our problems happen where we forget to ask that question. We give people a regular pita, they don't want the bread, they ordered a small, and that's what they've paid for. So we wanna make sure always regular or small, then the wider wheat. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this guy in there. Why don't you go ahead and do a small ham? So when we're talking about the smalls, you know, on our meats, you're doing one roll of ham instead of the two. With prime rib, it's the same, one roll instead of two. Turkey, it's one roll instead of two. If you're doing a Dagwood or a club, you're just gonna rip those one roll in half. That way it's the half the portion. So always just remember that when you get into those. Breakfast pita, same thing. Half the egg, half the hash brown, half the protein. So again, I'm just gonna open even a small, just the same. I'm gonna open her about 40% of the way. Flip my little flap back, and we're gonna start to build. So when I do this, I'm gonna start with a 3-finger pinch of lettuce is how I kinda go when I'm doing the size. With smalls, it's definitely important to remember that you can always add, right? And we wanna start off kind of small. Again, it's gonna go right in the power zone. Now here's something that can happen. You've already put lettuce in there. Say we've even dropped some tomatoes, and they decide they want hummus. Now, in a lot of stores, you may charge for hummus and avocado. In these stores, we currently don't. So you wanna make sure, tell people, oh, you know, if they didn't order the register, avocado is $1 extra. I can put a little bit on this time, but remember next time at the register. It's never good to tell a customer, oh, you know what, that's extra, I can't put it on there for you. That is an opportunity to really have that little engagement with the customer and give them the pickle, give them what they want. So here's our dilemma. We've already put that on. I can't put it on the bottom flap like I just did the other. So all I'm gonna do, because I'm gonna save that top flap for tzatziki, I'm gonna raise it up and I'm gonna put it on the top of the inside. And if you just kind of push your hand against it, it'll spread out evenly. And it's in there. We'll go ahead and throw a couple banana peppers on this, but again, you see my portions when I'm grabbing. I'm not grabbing a lot because I can always add. Maybe a little cucumber. Cheese especially, you're gonna go half scoop of feta, 1 slice of provolone, which actually fits really nice. Tzatziki, you're gonna go a little lighter. We'll do a little chipotle on this guy. Your sauce is the same zigzag, just a little quicker. So again, make sure we keep that pita facing the customer, and then you're gonna wanna communicate that it's a small ham. Courtney, I got a small ham on one. That way she knows in case she has a regular ham on there, she's not gonna put that meat in the small pita. It's just easier just to remember, just always have that clear communication. So again, we're gonna do a bear paw, not quite as big, right? A little smaller bear paw, baby bear paw. We're gonna tuck that back. Roll it, baby. And right into the paper. Nice and tight, just the way we like it. So again, I mean, this is just simple ways to make pitas, and this is how we train it here corporately. I hope this is very helpful. And remember, roll on.